Hello, everyone. This is Just a Dad, and you're listening to Coffee with Dad podcast. Today's podcast is brought to you by my very own coffee, Just a Dad Simple Sip Coffee. It's available in the K-Cup form or 16-ounce bag. You can get it either whole bean or already pre-ground, and you can buy it at justadadcoffee.com. Underneath the video also, you will see the products display there where you can click on them. I hope somebody, when they ask you what your favorite cup of coffee is, that you say Just a Dad Simple Sip Coffee. Hello everyone, this is Just a Dad. I have a very special guest on today, Adam Pennock, Fire Chief of Litchfield Fire Department. Hi Adam, how are you?
Not too bad. How are you doing today?
Good. The reason for my podcast is I like to show appreciation for different professions, and you're a firefighter. I respect that job greatly, and I just want to say a heartfelt thank you for what you do. We very much appreciate it. So
I appreciate the support.
Yeah.
And the Litchfield Fire Department, we get so much support from the community. We just love it.
Okay, that's just amazing. Thank you for coming on today. And so Adam, Litchfield Fire Department, when did you get your start, or when did you know you want to be a firefighter?
It kind of happened by accident. When it was like 2007, I was living in Raymond, still in high school. 2006, I guess. They started an Explorer program, which runs through the Boy Scouts. And then that was a way for us high school kids to kind of come into the fire department and see what it was all about. They were trying to drum up, some new young people. And I was able to do that. And I really took a liking to it, and just thought I was going to live in Raymond all my life and be a volunteer. And that was kind of my plan. I went to school originally to be a machinist. I went to Rankin Technical College for one semester.
Yeah.
I did that for, like I said, one semester, and I decided, you know what? I don't think I want to do this the rest of my life.
Okay.
It's a lot of on your feet.
Yeah.
In a hot shop. And that's what I thought I wanted to do until I did it, for a semester. Because Rankin, it's a great school.
Yeah.
I have nothing bad to say about them or the program, but they really show you what it's like to work in the industry. And I decided that wasn't something that I wanted to do, so kind of pulled the reins back and reevaluated what was going on. And I just went to work and hopped in an EMT class at night.
Yeah.
And then kind of took the interest into the EMT side of things. And I'm like, oh, this is cool. Maybe this is the way I'm going. So I was working and doing the EMT class. And my instructor, Joletta Hill from Nokomis, she's like, hey, you're doing pretty good. I think you should maybe go on to paramedic. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. And
the stars kind of lined up. And there was a class in Litchfield at Lincoln Land in the evening time. So I still worked.
Yeah.
Took the paramedic class. And while I was in the paramedic class, that's when I learned that Litchfield had a career fire department. There were some people from the department in the class. I think the only one still, Jake Law, firefighter Jake Law is still there, and Captain Kurt Glover were both in my paramedic class. And that's kind of how I found out that the Litchfield Fire Department had career staff.
Full-time employees.
I thought, man, this is neat.
Okay.
So I started doing ride-along time there for paramedic clinicals. And met the guys, and I kind of clicked, and so they had a test coming up, and I thought, well, I'll take it. Like, what's it going to hurt, right?
Yeah.
Took the one test, ended up number 2 on the list, ended up being the first guy hired. The number 1 guy passed on the job.
Wow.
And the rest is history. That was in 2010. So that's when I started there at the fire department. And while I was in paramedic school, I went to Lincoln Land also and got my firefighter certification.
Okay.
And actually, the Raymond Harville Fire Department helped me through that. So they sponsored me on that.
Did you do some volunteer work at the Raymond?
I never made it off probation there.
Okay.
I was there just under a year before when Litchfield hired me. So I was there for like 3 total years. But as a fireman, I was on the Explorers until they didn't have a spot on the roster when I turned 18. They were full. Which is a great problem to have for a volunteer organization.
So a volunteer fire department can be full.
It can be, but it's very odd in today's world.
Yeah.
Back then, it was not uncommon for a roster to be full. Because they don't. They have small budgets that turnout gear, have to outfit them, and all these things. So It probably costs in today's world $8,000 to $10,000 to outfit a volunteer firefighter with equipment.
That's something, we don't think about.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And budgets are tight, and fire department gets a decent chunk of the budget, but
Right.
You always have to be fiscally responsible and all those things. So whenever you're talking about putting a new volunteer on, and we're we don't have a cache of gear,
Yeah.
you really have to make sure that person's going to work and fit,
Okay.
and make sure that the investment is worth the end result. So
What was that first day like at Litchfield?
it was different than most people probably would have experienced, because I'd been doing paramedic ride time there for so long. So like I'd kind of already had the lay of the land and knew what was going on. It was kind of a benefit to me to be able to know the guys already.
Yeah.
Actually, my first shift at Litchfield was an overtime shift. I was supposed to start on date X, and then they called and said, "Hey, this guy's off on this day. Could you actually start on this day?
Okay.
But that won't be your permanent shift." I'm like, "Yeah, I can do that." I was young and
Yeah.
no kids, and it was just I was ready to work, so worked a lot.
Where does a firefighter start out? Do they start out on the EMT side, or do they start out on, like, you probably don't start out driving the fire truck right away, do you?
It depends.
Yeah.
It depends. So there are multiple pathways to get into the fire service, especially in today's world. Whenever I was hired, you had to be certified as a fireman, and you had to have at least an EMT license.
Okay.
And then the Litchfield Fire Department moved from that to where you had to be certified and a paramedic already to be hired. Now, I was already through the medic class, but I didn't have my license yet. So like I was in that limbo of still needed to take the state test and was waiting for that whenever I was hired. So, Litchfield didn't have to invest the time and money and energy into training me to be a paramedic, but they did have to wait a couple months before I got my license, which, worked out. So most of the fire departments like our size, you have to be an EMT or paramedic of some sort first to be hired.
Okay.
You can be trained to be a fireman at the academy in 7 weeks.
Oh, and will you get a certificate when you're done?
Yep.
Okay. And that's at Lincoln Land?
Well, you can do Lincoln Land, but that's like a year-long program, or we can send you to the State Fire Academy at the U of I.
Oh, really?
For 7 weeks. You stay up there.
Okay.
We'll put you up in a hotel, and in 7 weeks, you come back, and you're
certified.
Not quite certified anymore. They've added some other classes to get what they call the basic operations firefighter. And when I started, it was firefighter 2, firefighter 3. Now it's basic operations and advanced tech.
Oh, they've changed the name.
So they've changed the name, and they've added a few requirements to get those, full certifications. But you get your core firefighting stuff in 7 weeks. And there's like hazmat ops and.
Are you up there putting out fake fires or?
Yeah. The thing at the academy is they burn every day.
Oh, wow.
They have a burn tower, and they've got simulated.
So you're getting some real hands-on experience.
It's very. Wow. Lots of hands-on. Yep.
Is that test hard when you're done?
It can be hard.
But they do a good job
training. They're great at it. I mean, they know what's on the test. They teach you,
Yeah. They want you to succeed.
They're very good at it. Yep.
That's awesome. I had no idea. What is hardest part of a fire? Is it driving the truck? Is it holding the hose?
So, we're small.
Yeah.
You go to a big city.
You'll have just dedicated drivers.
You have dedicated driver. You have a guy that his main job is to pull the hose. You got a guy who might just carry tools and gain access or whatever. Whenever we go to a fire, we start out with 4 guys.
Okay.
There's 4 people to start out. So you've got 2 engines coming, one from each station with 2 guys, and first engine there is whoever's driving is going to operate the pump, and the other 3 guys are going to go to work. So you kind of do everything, and it's good because you kind of have that you don't get focused on one task or like you stand there with your one job and then you're done. By the end of it, by the time like the off-duty staff and the volunteers come in, we may have only 15 guys at a fire. Wow. And we're calling for mutual aid from, usually Mount Olive or Raymond. to come up and bring us, 4 or 5 more guys to help.
So Litchfield has volunteers also.
We do. Yep.
Okay. Do they get called on every call or?
Every fire call. They carry a pager just like I have.
Okay. So you're still using pagers.
Yeah, we use there's pagers, and there's also, so that gets the direct dispatch from the dispatch center in Hillsboro.
Yeah.
Just like a radio would.
Okay.
It's a little bit of a cheaper option than a radio.
Okay.
And we also have a cell phone application now.
Okay.
That it's almost like you just get an alert. It's a little delayed from the pager because it takes so once they do the page from
then they go to
dispatch, then it sends it to the app and then pushes to your phone. So there's a 30-second delay on getting the pages there. The great thing about that is you can open the CAD notes. You can see in the app, you can see the notes that the dispatch has put on about the call and what's going on before you even get there, or decide if you're going, if you're off duty or you're a volunteer and you're like, let's see what that's about before I commit, to leaving my kid's birthday party or whatever's going on.
Does the pager talk to you or does it give you codes?
No, it's voice.
Okay.
So it just like open up, beep, beep, beep. And then you hear the dispatcher talking just like we would in the station.
Okay. Do they try to keep it short or is it a long message?
It's a decent size, 30-second clip. I can probably pull.
Yeah.
Off the app, I can pull one of our recent pages.
Because I hear those sometimes, you'll be out and about. I've never been around a fireman or anything. Just you kind of, you know they exist and you're very happy that they're around.
Yeah. All right. Audio.
There might be some firefighters listening. Jump up.
Yeah.
Is it the same nationwide or?
No, I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
A similar sort of. Let's see.
Litchfield Fire responds for a report of smoke coming out of a garage around South Lincoln and West Tyler. Litchfield Fire respond for a report of smoke coming out of a garage on South Lincoln and West Tyler.
Okay.
That one clear, 456.
So that's just kind of a.
And then do you have to respond? Do you respond with your pager or how do you respond?
You just go to the station and then hop on the radio and say, whatever vehicle you're in.
So the radio in your truck talks to the dispatcher?
Yep.
Okay. And they know you're there. So there could be a delay there. They're like.
Yeah. With us having career staff, it's pretty quick that they know that we're headed that way. A lot of the volunteer departments in the county, because we're the only like fully staffed career fire department. Now there's other ambulances that are Hillsboro ambulance and things, but usually when they get a page, somebody just hops on their portable radio and says, "We acknowledge the page."
Okay. So
and that lets them know. And then there's protocols in place, like if nobody responds within, I think it's 2 minutes, they repage it. And then if nobody responds in 2 minutes again, they'll send it to the next agency.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I've heard a little bit about that mutual aid. But it's like, so if if Raymond responds to a big accident, you may send a truck to Raymond to sit on standby or something? Is that?
We could, yeah, if they request it.
Oh, they got to request it.
Yep.
Okay.
It just depends on what's going on.
Okay.
We do that a lot more with ambulances.
Ambulance, that's what I was thinking of, yeah.
Hillsboro and us work great together.
Yeah.
We're in the times of short staff. Like every industry short staffed, including the fire department ambulances.
Wow. Such long waiting lists. I remember growing up. To be a fireman was hard. It was a hard job to get.
It was, yeah. Whenever I tested at the fire department, I think there was around 24 people that showed up to take the test just to get on the list. And in today's world, we might have 5 people show up and then 2 people actually qualify to sit for the test. And we might, like the current list, we had 2 people sit for the test and we're hiring 2. So we're going to hire them at the next council meeting. So then the list is expired again. We have to try it all over again.
Yeah.
So it's definitely challenging.
Yeah.
But we are working with the school district through the new innovation center that they have, and I'm trying really hard to create like a pipeline from the Litchfield High School into like the Litchfield Fire Department, because it's so hard to get people drawn into a community. But if you're already here, and deep rooted in this community that everybody, that gets here loves it.
Yeah.
I came from Raymond, got here, I stayed. I'm a Purple Panther now.
Yeah.
It was hard to go from orange and black to purple, but I embraced it. I went to the Lincolnwood Litchfield basketball game the other night, all my purple, and saw all my friends, people that used to watch me play basketball were there
for Lincolnwood.
And it was kind of funny. And they jabbed me a little bit. And we went back and forth, but all in good fun.
What would that consist of out there at Lincoln Land? Do you think maybe have students do ride-alongs?
So we're actually, as a senior in the Litchfield High School, you can now take the EMT basic class at our fire station through that innovation center. We've partnered with them. The city has put up, Mayor Doherty has really stood up and said, you know what, we're going to support this. We're going to try to get these kids into this service. So we provide the instructor, we provide the space. They just have to send us the kids.
Wow.
And last year we did 8. I believe 2 of them ended up certified. And then this year I think there was 13 or 14 on the list. So it's increasing in popularity.
Yeah.
I just hope that, there's a way that we can get those individuals then to, come on and entice them into this service.
Along with that, do you still go to the grade schools?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
As a kid, that's got to be one of the best days ever.
Yep.
When the fire truck shows up and they're out there ready and the hose is going. I mean.
Yep. So we made, we brought some things back this year. October, Fire Prevention Week is huge for us. We go out to all the schools and visit with every student, pre-K through 5.
Okay.
And then one of the daycares, they came in for a station tour. But one thing we brought back was a 20-plus year tradition that COVID killed, of having lunch with students in the firehouse. So we bring one kid from each class, K through 5 in the public school, and then K through 8 at Zion. So each class gets to send one kid 1 day a week to the firehouse. We have chili and hot dogs, cookies, chips, and they love it. And then they get a behind the scenes tour of the firehouse. And
maybe planting that seed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. You never know.
Yeah. That's awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I was really happy to be able to bring that back this year.
Yes.
And, the guys come in off duty, volunteers come in and help.
Yeah.
The school district's so supportive of it. Mr. Favor at the 2, small, I think he's pre-K.
Yeah. Over there at the new school.
Yeah, pre-K and kindergarten. He's not at the new school, but he does Siler in Madison Park, and he was really excited to have that back. So he even came and had lunch with us 2 of the days. So I said one thing I requested was they send a chaperone.
Yeah.
They hadn't always done that in the past. It's kind of the way the world's headed. I think it'd be good to have a school representative on site just in case.
Yeah.
And he threw his hand in the air and he's like, I'm coming to have chili and hot dogs with the firemen. So
that's awesome. So you have a dive team too.
Yeah.
That seems hard. Firefighter, dive team, you guys are learning so much.
Yep.
What is that like?
So the fire department is described as an all hazards response, dive, hazmat, EMS, fire and rescue. If it's kind of funny, but it's if they don't know who to call, if it doesn't fall in the police realm, it's usually the fire department that it gets, I don't want to say dumped on, but dumped on. We don't know what to do with this. Send the fire department, they'll figure it out because that's what we do. We just figure it out, So dive team. We house the MABUS 56 dive team, which is supported by the state MABUS organization, which receives money through the Illinois Terrorism Task Force. We have a couple boats from them. We've probably got about $300,000 to $400,000 worth of equipment just from MABUS that we house.
Are you the main one in Montgomery County, or is there other ones?
So there is other ones. Hillsborough has a dive team, but as being the MABUS dive team, any firefighter that is in MABUS 56, which is Montgomery and Macoupin, a little bit of Macoupin County, their firefighters can join our dive team. So you don't have to be just a Litchfield firefighter.
Okay.
We have a diver that is a retired Macoupin County Sheriff's deputy.
Okay.
And he's one of our, we call him all the time because he's available.
Yeah.
So
that's got to be so hard because they probably can't see, right? These lakes are always filled
no,
with,
there's you feel.
oh wow.
But we are technology's increasing, so now we have sonar.
Really?
Mavis has given us a side sector scanner, and we have like a tow fish scanner that we
Yeah.
can tow behind the boat, all provided by Mavis.
Oh, good.
And we can kind of get a view and maybe try to find it with sonar before we dive it.
Yeah.
The guys used to just hop in the water, get on the bottom and crawl on their bellies
Yeah.
and, go back and forth doing search patterns, hoping that they bump into something. And, those days are kind of over.
Yeah.
Now we kind of try to find it with imagery and then
Okay.
mark it and then dive the mark.
That sounds a lot better.
Technology
Yeah.
improves everything.
I can imagine your technology has changed. Just probably in your since
Yeah.
you've been a firefighter, right? What's
Yep.
some of the improvements you've seen just since you've been a firefighter?
So probably the biggest thing I can point to is, you think of like the jaws of life. Everybody knows what the jaws of life are. Well, they used to be, you had to have a hose
Yep.
that ran to either a portable power unit that you
Yep.
carried and it was heavy. Took two guys to carry
Yep.
it out near the car. And then you had maybe 25 or 30 feet of hose hooked to the jaws of life, or you had truck mounted. Our most recent was a truck mount. So you had like a 200-foot hose reel that you could pull off the truck. So you had to be close.
Is that hydraulics?
Hydraulics. Yep. They're hydraulics. Well, now we have hydraulic.
What's hydraulic?
So they're battery powered with DeWalt 20 volt, 60 volt max, and they're portable. So
And they do the power of hydraulics now.
Yep.
You've not seen any this is really working good.
This is working great.
Wow.
It's amazing. There's no limitations.
You have one that cuts and then one that
A cutter and a spreader. Yep.
Spreader.
And then we have a ram. It just looks like a big piston.
yeah.
So, if we need to just spread something really far,
or lift something up or
it's mainly for
spreading.
yes,
Okay.
like lifting dashes is what, we do.
Okay. So with the interstate so close, I imagine you see a lot of calls to the interstate, right?
They're hit and miss. We definitely have our runs of interstate calls, but it's probably not as often as you would think.
Okay.
But when they do happen, they're usually not good.
Yeah. That Interstate 55, just in my lifetime, I graduated in 1990. That interstate traffic is it seems like every year it's getting more and more and more trucks and it's absolutely, that's a major artery going right through Litchfield.
Construction
Oh yeah.
is usually the catalyst to most of this.
Yep.
And then cell phones cause quite a bit of problems for us on that.
Do you get a lot of rural calls? Farms? You got such a vast, you got some major city infrastructure. You've got farms.
Yeah. So, we're a city department. We don't operate as a fire protection district. So anybody that's outside of city limits,
Okay.
may be in our response area. That just is what's on the map from the county.
Yeah.
But they don't pay taxes, for the fire service. They can get if you live outside of city limits, you can get a contract for coverage, which reduces your bill if, you would have calls for service. But, inside city limits, that there is no billing or any, your taxes pay for the fire service. But outside, we don't have a ton of outside calls.
Okay.
It's usually a couple big fires a year.
Yeah.
Farm fires,
Yeah.
Machine shed or big garage or field or something of that sort. But we're not outside city limits as much as one might think. Or
Maybe if you're calling, they call you for help.
yeah,
Do you have a big ladder truck?
we do.
Okay, but is that called in a lot?
It used to be, but now more and more people are kind of getting them. So we used to have kind of the ladder truck of the area, and now Raymond's got a ladder truck now, and
Okay. Oh, Raymond has a ladder.
yeah,
Wow.
yep, they bought one used,
Yeah.
just to meet their needs. And
That's an excellent. I mean, Montgomery County seems to be, the fire department seems so well run and so organized and so, I don't know what it is around this area, but they just seem very proper.
well, a lot of that can be credited to the leadership. I didn't invent this wheel, but I get to be a part of it. And there's there have Montgomery County officer meetings.
Yeah.
Every couple months where we bounce around the county and we meet and we talk about things. We have our Mavis meetings where we all get together. We all kind of get on the same page. We know what's going on in each other's departments,
Wow.
and we're plugged in. We know them. I can bump into them on the interstate at 3 a.m. and call them by name.
Yeah.
And that's invaluable.
I know when I grew up in Witt, it was neat. Witt was a special town to me. I saw the fire department was so small. And just when I lived there as a kid, I saw it grow. And the project they did one summer is they made their own fire truck. And I know as kids, we were driving around and they bought obviously they couldn't afford a big fire truck. They took a chassis and they had it in this guy's back garage. And every night they were back there working on this. And when they were done, you could tell it wasn't like the Peterbilt or whatever right off the production line, but that was so neat to see them do that. And that just showed us the commitment that they have to their fire department.
Yep. Kind of doing more with less. And it's kind of the way things happen in the fire service. You just make it happen. If you see something that needs done, you do it. And if, something needs modified, you do that too.
Yeah.
We had a guy that built a rack for one of our boats, and it's like, you just made it in the back of the station because couldn't find the applicable thing that we wanted. And he's like, well, I think I can make it out of this and this. So we got it, and he did. So
how many trucks does Litchfield have right now?
Oh, man.
What do you call them? Trucks, or what do you call them?
Well, it depends on their purpose. We have like a brush unit, which is so it's a brush truck, and it pulls a Kubota. Currently we have 2 engines, and we're speccing out another one. Okay. Engines are like pumpers.
Pumpers, yeah.
That's what, we use to extinguish fires. We have a ladder truck.
Yeah.
And then our primary engine, I call it, or pumper, is also our rescue truck. So previous administration decided, hey, we're kind of short-staffed. We've only got 4 guys. Let's get a rescue pumper, is what it's actually called. So one side of the truck is set up for rescue, and the other side is set up for firefighting. So, most of the rescue tools are on the passenger side, and the driver's side has all the firefighting stuff. So we take one truck with 1,000 gallons of water, and we have everything, right there. It's bigger.
How long would that 1,000 gallons last?
It would depend on the operation, so we flow normally 150 to 200 gallons per minute.
Wow.
If we're...
So when you show up to a scene, you're probably like, we got to get water. That's probably is that your first thing you're thinking of?
It's high on the list. But you can extinguish a lot of fire with 1,000 gallons of water.
Okay.
Doesn't take much.
Because you're probably adjusting the flow rate and the pattern and...
You can, but usually just a quick blast to the seat of the fire, 5 to 10 seconds, and you knock a majority of the fire down. Then there's you have to cool the atmosphere, and things are made of materials that they weren't made of back in, we think of legacy materials versus like today's
batteries,
everything, methyl, ethyl, bad stuff. Your couches will burn so much faster than they used to.
Just the material they're made out of.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just what they're made of. It's a couch today is pretty much like, solid gasoline. It goes that fast. And you think of a couch, maybe your mom or grandma had that you could, light on fire, and in 5 minutes it might burn to the other end.
Right. Well, there would be cigarette holes in them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like that old cotton or something. But,
yeah.
Oh, what, so you say you're getting a new fire truck possibly?
So at one of the last council meetings, they approved. So the previous administration had ordered what they call a mini pumper. So it's like a F550 with a small pumper chassis, pumper body on it, and holds 300 gallons of water. And so whenever that was ordered, there was a different chief, excuse me, and 2 different captains. And now I'm the chief, and there's 2 new captains, and we're all like, hey, we'd really like to not have that truck, and the council agreed to cancel that order. So that saved them $244,000, and we're going to roll that into a truck that we had budgeted for 2025, and try to get a good, solid pumper with some extra water, more than 1,000 gallons. We're hoping for like a pumper tanker style truck.
How many people will ride along in that?
Up to 6 is what the cab will hold.
Okay. So you got to get the gear on. Explain to me a fire call. So say you're at the house. What happens? So you get the page, and it's like gear up. Do you get all geared up, or is it just like put it on?
So, Litchfield, like I keep saying that we're unique because we're small, and we are. That's the truth. So, step one is to decide what the call is.
Yeah.
Is this like a true fire, like
Okay.
the house is on fire, or is this like an accident with injuries, or is this just an EMS call? So like we have to go through that process to decide which one of the trucks the guys are going to get in.
Okay.
And then what equipment they're going to put on. So, if it was a house fire, confirmed house fire, the guys would, go out and their boots are sitting by the truck with their pants already attached. They'll pull those up,
Okay.
suspenders on, coats on, and then they're hopping in the truck. So they've got their pants, boots, and coats on, and then they say they're en route. And while they're en route, the guy driving obviously doesn't, but the captain or whoever's in the officer seat, that's the front right seat is called the officer seat on any fire truck.
Okay.
So whoever's in that seat is in charge of that vehicle. Front right seat
Okay.
is the person in charge
Is
of
he
the
honking
vehicle.
the horns too and everything?
He could be running the siren or honking the horn. There's buttons on both sides.
Okay.
Like it just depends on, the experience of the driver and, how comfortable the person in the officer seat is with them and things of that nature. And, the person in the officer seat may see something that the driver doesn't see and may need to honk the horn or
That's
whatever, and let people know. And then usually the guy in the officer seat also talking on the radio. So while that's going on, that person is also putting their air pack on, which is built into the
oxygen?
seat. Yep.
So no, explain that to me. Built into the seat.
So the seat just has just a cutout and there's a
Is
mount.
that the oxygen tank on the back?
It's just an air tank.
Oh.
So it's
Oh yeah, you wouldn't want oxygen.
yeah, it's just atmospheric air compressed down. We have a compressor at the station that draws air from the outside.
Okay.
There's a pipe that goes out with a filter on it, and it pulls the air in, and
That's in the truck all the time waiting.
it's in the truck all the time
And
waiting.
then they just harness that up. Oh
Yep,
wow.
strap it on.
So when you arrive at the scene, you're gonna have the tank on, ready to go.
Yep, tank on. The only thing left to do would be to put your face mask on, helmet, and gloves.
Wow.
We don't ride in the truck with our helmets on.
Oh. What advice would you give somebody wanting to be a firefighter nowadays?
Just do it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many places looking. We've actually lost a couple people to bigger towns that pay more.
Yeah.
Which I don't blame those people. I'm
Right.
glad to see them go and make their accomplish their career goals and do what they want to do. But it is a shame that we're not able to retain those people because we can't offer the money that like Champaign or Bloomington or Peoria can offer, Springfield.
Wow.
So that's why my goal is to try to pipeline somebody that's already from the community, into the fire department.
What would a work week entail? Is there lots of overtime? Is it just a 40-hour week? What?
So our schedule, and it's very common firefighter schedule, 24/48.
Explain that.
So you work 24 hours on,
Okay.
and then you're off 48 hours.
And that's that
That's
doesn't
every third day forever,
Wow.
unless you switch shifts. So shift 1, 2, and 3.
Wow.
4 guys per day, and we try to have a swing man, but we haven't been able to really keep that position full for most of my career. I can think of about in the last 14 years, probably 14 months that we had a swing man.
Oh wow.
Just because of somebody's always hurt or somebody's sick or somebody's switching jobs or leaving or moving. That just we haven't been able to keep that 13th man in position.
So that 24 hours you're sleeping at the firehouse.
Yep.
Okay.
Show up in the morning. We usually shift change is at 7, but the guys usually get there 20 till, and there's usually like 20 minutes of the incoming shift and the oncoming shift kind of having coffee together, and then the guys that are leaving may have to get right out at 7 to get their kids to school or whatever, or if they don't, they may be there till 7:30 just catching up and like, hey, this is what happened yesterday.
Okay.
We had this call, so and so on this street fell again, might need to watch there. Hey, the key's under the back rock. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah.
Just like common, we just call it, a shift report or, and we do it very relaxed. It's at the kitchen table.
And you have a kitchen there. You
Yep.
have to cook your own food. And,
Yep. The guys, they can either cook or they can go grab something. I don't mind them going out into the community and, supporting a small business. If they want to go out and eat, I let them go eat.
Yeah.
I think it's important for them to be out in the public, and I want them to be engaging.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than being, at Pizza Man at lunch, and there's 3 little kids in there pointing, and then you take them out, as they're leaving, you take them out and show them the fire truck. Like that's how you get people involved. I don't want to hide the guys in the station. I don't want them buried away.
They're not scary.
They're not scary. They need to be out, and they need to support the community. And, I like that. They can go to Walmart and shop for their food while they're working. They can do what, I give them pretty much free reign. They don't abuse it.
Yeah.
They're good guys. They know what's going on.
Yeah. So explain to me the progression. You hire on. What title do you have when you first hire on as a fireman?
So firefighter EMT would be like step 1.
Yeah.
That would be EMT basic is what you can hire on as. That's the minimum requirement. So we'll take you as if you just EMTB, which you can get at the Litchfield High School now. That's a high school level class. So we'll take you there. The caveat to that is you have to be 21 to be hired.
Oh, to be hired. Okay.
That's a state.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It used to.
You would probably like a 20-year-old.
I would take an 18-year-old now, because we can't get the numbers, to test and things. And I'm afraid that, we're going to train these kids at 17, 18 years old to be an EMT, and then we're going to lose them to a private ambulance company.
Yeah.
I just had a guy send me the other day, there's a private ambulance company offering, $2,000 more than we're offering starting wage.
Wow.
Which used to be unheard of, that, a municipal fire department paid less than a private ambulance, but they're having to, step up their game as well to try to attract employees. And I'm scared that we're going to lose these kids that we're training to places like that, but that's okay. We're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
But you'd start out as a firefighter EMT, and then work your way up to firefighter paramedic. And then, depending on what department you worked at, the next step would be driver, engineer, lieutenant, captain, maybe, battalion chief, and then chief.
Okay.
In Litchfield, we have firefighter EMT, firefighter paramedic, captain, chief.
Okay.
Just because we're smaller, we don't have all the different rank positions.
Okay.
If we added a couple more staff, we could look at maybe having lieutenants also.
Yeah.
So there was an officer at each station, but we just don't have that right now.
Litchfield has a helicopter now. What is that? How long has that helicopter been here? Life flight? It's Arch, isn't it?
Arch, yep.
Yeah.
They have been, I think, since around 2000, between 2000 and 2002.
Oh, wow. It's a long time.
And they were housed at our West Side Fire Station for
that's right.
up until about 3 or 4 years ago. The hospital expressed interest in having them, sitting at the hospital on the pad all the time. They offered them the old nun's house.
Okay.
So they
that's right.
vacated their half of our fire station and went over there, which was okay.
Yeah.
We still have a great relationship with them. Most of the guys at some point in the month go out and have dinner with them.
Okay.
We still like to keep a close relationship with those people because, actually, our duty crew went out yesterday and one of their staff taught a EKG class to our new paramedic students. Because she's a nurse and she's very, tuned into the cardiology and she's really good at it. She's a great instructor. So they went out and visited with her. She taught them about a 3-hour EKG class, and Air Methods provided pizza. And, it was just great to have that relationship with them in town. And then when they moved, we gained that space back in the fire station. So missing out on a little bit of rent, but the space is nice to have.
Yeah. And that was important for Litchfield because of the railroad tracks.
Yep. Trains stop for so long in Litchfield. It's not as long as it used to be.
Right.
They put in like an electronic switch.
Yeah.
So it's not, near as bad as it was when I started, where the tracks might be jammed up 20, 25 minutes while they got out and threw the manual switch. But trains do still stop. We've kind of figured out our ways around it and how to work it. So, we get by pretty good, but that's why it's there, because of the train tracks and the industry, the Alpine and Pittsburgh Pipe out there in the industrial park. They really like that fire station being there.
So when a helicopter decides to land, who's there helping the helicopter land? Does that fall on firefighters?
Yeah. So if the helicopter's called for, then, you know, the paramedic has decided that the patient needs to be at a higher facility quicker than we could get them there by ground. So we could get you to a trauma center probably in 45 minutes from Litchfield.
Wow.
Helicopter can get you there in maybe 12 to 15.
12 minutes.
Depending on, you know, wind and
really
all
fast.
those things. Yeah, it's pretty quick.
Wow.
But, you know, like in a straight line, it's really not that far to Springfield.
Yeah.
For them, you know.
Yeah.
And if they got a tailwind, they can buzz right up
So
there.
if somebody's called a helicopter in, do you guys kind of have to like, okay, where's the spot? Are the police officers helping you?
So yeah, with us, you know, since we're the ambulance and the fire department, we have to kind of wear both hats. So if the cops are there and available, we might assign them to the landing zone.
Okay.
Like, hey, can you talk the helicopter in? Because you have to, you know, switch your radio to a special channel.
to talk to the helicopter.
To talk to the helicopter, and then, you know, let them know if there's any hazards, or, you know, hey, you got power lines, you know, on the south side of the road, so make sure you stay closer to the north side of the road.
Yeah, I'm sure that's
because, you know, they
stressful.
can't always see those from.
And it's typically not a really perfect day when things are going on, right?
Right. And, you know, like, if we can, we try to take the patient to them. You know,
that
you know,
makes
because it's
sense.
only a 3 or 4 minute transport to the helicopter.
Find a nice, good place.
Yep.
And then
Predetermined landing zones. Every community has a predetermined landing zone. We still have our pad at the West Side Station, you know,
okay.
where they used to land. So, you know, we've used that before.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
You guys are always thinking.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I didn't invent this wheel. I just ride the bus, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's just been a sure pleasure, Adam, today, and we cannot thank you enough for what you do, and you just express that to everybody at the firehouse, and you know, thank you so much. Firefighters I've met, they're kind of a quiet bunch. They don't walk around, hey, you know, look at me, and so just thank you for what you do. It's a job that I can't even dream of doing. So
I appreciate you having me up.
but thank you very much.